My name is James Graham, playwright and screenwriter, and I'm the writer behind the play Punch, which is about to open in the West End and also very weirdly also on Broadway the same week. The play started in the Nottingham Playhouse, so my local theatre, my local community, and it's actually a very Nottingham story. It's set in the city. It's based on something that happened here in 2011. The year was. And the main character, Jacob, the protagonist, he's from the Meadows estate in Nottingham, and that's that we follow his life. And yeah, it's a very local story. It's a real life story. The story of Punch I find so incredibly compelling. It still moves me to this day and seems to really move audiences in its nature. It's about basically this a guy from Nottingham called Jacob. He was growing up as a young man involved in gangs and. His default was always to resort to violence in stressful situations. And one evening on a Saturday night in Nottingham in 2011, he was involved in a fight where he punched someone he didn't even know outside a bar. And that guy, James Hodgkinson, he died from the one punch killing. And it's about the journey he went on, which is a redemptive story. He came out of prison, was absolutely destined to go into a reoffending cycle. But came out of that due to the generosity of the parents, the victim's parents, David and Joan. They went through a program of restorative justice where they reached out to the guy who killed their son and tried to save him, tried to understand him, and it turned his life around and turned their life around as well. And the play it went down very well in Nottingham, and so we moved it to London, to the Young Vic Theatre, and because of the audience response and because of the reviews and the conversations that seem to happen around it about justice, about forgiveness, the power of forgiveness. This mother in particular who manages to reach out to the man who killed her son and forgive him, and in so doing kind of save his life and him save her as well. It's a very beautiful story, and there's something about that seems to be connecting with people at this time, a difficult time. And so, yeah, moving to the West End, but something about its themes, its universal themes, its questions about justice and masculinity and that kind of thing seems to be resonating with American audiences too. So some producers took it over to Broadway and we're opening the same week, which is mad to me. I think it's the first time in about 100 years that a play is opened at the same time either side of the Atlantic. It's very, very bizarre for me, but I feel very lucky. And it's been an interesting exercise in sort of the cultural differences, working out what works in London, the few changes you have to make in the writing and the production to make sure it works in New York, which is a different culture. But yeah, really fascinating. My writing process, I don't think it's massively original. I write the first draft alone normally, and I do a lot of planning, and I'll stay in touch with my team, my director. But you submit a draft, and then you get notes, you get feedback, which I really enjoy. I really enjoy that process. I enjoy the second draft more than I do the first draft, which you know sort of what it is and where it's going. And then, of course, the rehearsal process, which is really valuable. And having done some screen work and film work, you don't really get that when you're making a TV drama. You sort of cobble it together in a different order as you go along. Whereas for a play, you're a group of actors in a rehearsal room. You meet together on the first day. You all know what the mission is. You build it together, and then obviously you share it together live in a theatre, which you don't do on a TV drama or a film. You just send it out into the world, and it's there for whenever people want. You get to react to the audience. The audience will teach you things, and you can keep making changes based on that. But theatre is a real collaboration of which I think you have to have the humility as a writer to understand that you're just one part of that. My step to becoming a professional playwright and screenwriter, I don't know if it was normal or not, but mine was entirely through school. I because of my really passionate drama teachers who believe that working class kids from a left behind area at the time, which a deindustrialized town, should be creative and engage with the arts, and so they encouraged me to sort of apply for a drama degree, and I went to university in Hull, first in my family to go to university. It was a good. Hull has a really good theatre culture, like the Yorkshire writers like John Godber and Alan Ayckbourn, who come from that part of the world in the East Ridings, but sort of working class comedies and boisterous popular plays, which I think got into my system a bit. And then from there, when I left university, I did a degree in drama. I started working backstage to theatre in Nottingham, the Theatre Royal, which is the theatre where Dear England is opening, which is a nice circular journey. But yeah, I was on the stage door at I think 2003, 2003 to 2004, so about 18 months. Um, but yeah, so yeah, my first job was on the stage door, the sort of backstage area where you welcome in the shows, and then the Nottingham, well, it's the Royal Centre in Nottingham, so you get the concert hall one side, as you know, and the theatre hall the other, so you get like huge bands, famous rock stars playing in the concert hall, and you have to take them to the dressing room, and then you get West End shows and things coming through the Theatre Royal. So I got to see a lot of work and meet a lot of people. And also, I was writing at that point. I was writing in my downtime when the shows were up, and I'd try to finish off these plays. And I just started sending scripts off to theatres, and I had to be patient. It took a while, but one theatre got back to me in London, a very small 50-seat theatre above a pub, no money, run down, but had lots of heart and a loyal audience. And they gave me my first professional job, and that was back in 2005, my first ever play. Um, and you put it on, professional actors, you get national papers and things coming to review you. I got an agent, a literary agent from that, and they help you sort of set up meetings and provide opportunities for you. And it kind of went from there, and it took me about, I'd say, 5, 6, 7 years of doing these plays in these small venues with not much money, before I got some of my bigger breaks in bigger theatres like the National Theatre in London, which who were the producers of Dear England. I did a big play there in 2012, which was kind of my breakout play. It was called This House, set in Parliament in the 1970s. And yeah, I just sort of went from there. I like my political shows. Yeah, I like my history shows, and I think that's because I just like real life stories. I like making sense of our recent past, and taking events that might be familiar or unfamiliar to an audience, and using drama, using storytelling to try and make sense of them. Whether that's, I've done TV dramas about the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire coughing scandal, called Quiz, about the guy who allegedly coughed his way to £1 million in front of Chris Tarrant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or yeah, Dear England, Gareth Southgate. But I like taking stories that we think we know, and applying art to them and see if we can know them better. So I've been James Graham. Thank you for listening and watching this. Really appreciate it.